Hello everybody and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play series inside of my world. Today we're actually going to be doing a little special episode. As of right now you can see it's 2 minutes away from 4th of July. You can see up top right corner, right? 11:58. I'm not going to lie to you. Tomorrow is 4th of July. 2 minutes from now is 4th of July. I can't really prove it other than showing you the time up there. It's about to be 12. And as of, it's just gonna have to be like, you know, trust me bro type of thing. Tomorrow's 4th of July, and so this is gonna be a little bit of a special episode. But before we get into what this episode is gonna be about, I'm gonna announce the people that got into the Hall of Fame this episode. If you are new here, of course, the Hall of Fame is a way I just, you know, put down names in the Hall of Fame, and all you have to do is just comment down below, like and subscribe. And if you could really comment down anything, I guess. You got building recommendations, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like. You know, like you'd say the music's too loud, anything, I don't care. But all the people last episode that got nominated was pretty much everyone except Glitch. Glitch, you're in my thing twice, so I didn't want to put you in 3 times, okay? But thank you for commenting again. So we had 8 people, which was Blue Knights, AE, Keith, Cuban. This is my name. Yep, this is my name. Jeb Broom, Cyberknife, and Soup Master. So yeah, congrats all you guys. I took in all of your comments into consideration. When you get, I think Glitch actually said that I should build a skull thing for my graveyard over there. I don't think I'm gonna build it for my graveyard, but I do like that idea for like maybe on a cave or something, like a cool entrance to like a secret cave base, or maybe not a secret cave base, but like a villain cave base. But anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Is it raining right now? All right. Oh well, okay. So basically, I'm going to be building an American flag with some, you know, fireworks and stuff. And as, you know, the time lapse is happening with me building, I'm going to talk a little bit about America. And specifically, fun fact, one of my favorite classes in high school was actually AP Government. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, you know, the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, like all the stuff in it. And because I'm really passionate about this stuff. I love the history of America. So anyways, let's get started with the time lapse, shall we? So basically, let's talk about Independence Day and the flag. So in 1776, America officially declared its independence from Great Britain, right? They're like, hey, we don't like your taxes, your teas, and all this little extra stuff. And a matter of fact, we have to house your troops. Like, what's up with that? I'd be pretty mad if I had to house some random stinky British soldier and I was paying taxes to some king across the entire, like, continent, okay? So let's talk about the flag. So there's 13 stripes on the flag that alternate between red and white. Those represent the 13 original colonies, and then obviously you have the little blue spot that has the stars. Each star represents the state or country or whatever you want to call it. Or no, not country, sorry about that. So each of those represent a colony or state, like I said. Originally on the flag, I think it was in a circle, the stars, and it was 13 stars, obviously, initially. Now there's 50 stars on the flag. You'll see in the time lapse, I don't have enough room to place buttons down, and those buttons are supposed to represent stars. I think I placed down 36 buttons. There's supposed to be 50 buttons, but I couldn't really like fit all the buttons on without making the flag bigger. It's not too big of a deal, okay? So moving on from the flag design and our Independence Day, the first like pre-Constitution document was the Articles of Confederation. When the Founding Fathers made the Articles of Confederation, right, they didn't like how big government was. They wanted small government. So a lot of power was allotted to the states, and like the federal government, like the big government, like if I were to put that in today's terms, like the president and Congress and the judicial branch, that big government was really weak in power in the Articles of Confederation. And the problem with the Articles of Confederation was there were some like rebellions and stuff. I believe it was the Turner's Rebellion and all that stuff. The federal army didn't really have a good enough army to fight off these rebellions, and it proved to be quite a problem. So the Founding Fathers are like, okay, we need to rethink this. Maybe we need to take some powers away from the state and maybe give a little bit more powers to the federal government, but let's make sure that we don't have another like king or great king or whatever you want to call. We need to establish 3 different branches with checks and balances, and I'll talk about the now today constitution that we have. By the way, that was a really dumbed down version of the Articles of Confederation. I'd suggest that you go look into yourself, but that was like the predecessor to our today constitution. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the constitution because it's way past my bedtime and I'm falling asleep right now, so I might sound like slurred when I talk. So the constitution, basically, what is the reason for it, right? The constitution was to establish the 3 branches of the federal government: the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. The legislative branch is Congress, so both the House and Senate. The executive branch is like the president and all his cabinet members, and the judicial branch is the Supreme Court and all the inferior courts below it. So talking about the legislative branch, the Article 1 deals with the legislative branch. It basically gives the legislative branch power to make laws. That's the most important one. And also they could declare war. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The most important thing for that, they also control the purse, so like the money of the country. Then you have the president, who basically can veto laws from the Congress. Unless if Congress votes a 2/3 majority on the law, then the president can't veto it. And veto is basically the president saying, hey, I don't like this law. So the president also is the commander-in-chief of the armies, you know, Navy, Air Force, all that different type of stuff. So they could send a certain amount of troops to places, only a small amount, right? Because Congress ultimately declares wars. So it's not completely constitutional for a president to just send all the army wherever they want. But it is constitutional, in my opinion, for them to allot some amount of troops somewhere to quote-unquote keep peace. The president also appoints Supreme Court judges, and the legislative branch of Congress then passes Supreme Court judges. So the most recent one was Ketanji Brown Jackson, who President Joe Biden had appointed, and the Senate had approved her. Next up, you have the judicial branch, which basically they take a law and determine whether it's constitutional or not. If the law is constitutional, it is upheld, it's kept, it's like, hey, we're keeping this law, it's good, it abides by the constitutional rights. And if it's not constitutional, then that law is yeeted out. So that was an extremely dumbed down version of all the branches. To further explain it, each branch is supposed to have a check and balance on the other branches. So the president can veto laws from the legislative branch. However, the legislative branch, if they have a 2/3 majority, then they could obviously, you know, override the president's veto. Also, the Supreme Court having, you know, the ability to take the laws of the legislative branch and say, hey, this isn't constitutional, we're eating your laws. The legislative branch could be like, all right, you know, I don't like your decision. So they could literally just make an amendment. Amendments are part of the Constitution. They're amendments to the Constitution. And once the legislative branch amends something to the Constitution, the judicial branch can't say that's unconstitutional because it's part of the Constitution, right? It's cool stuff. And the president, right? What checks are placed on him? Well, the legislative branch could be like, hey, you're being naughty, and we're gonna impeach you from office. The same thing with, you know, Supreme Court judges, but that rarely happens. Only one has ever been impeached. In the Constitution, I believe in Article 3, the judges are given life tenure, which is, it's intended because you want judges not to be influenced by the voters. You want them to be completely independent from the population, which I encourage you to read. I forget, it's like the Federalist Paper 73, I believe. It's a really compelling argument made by, what's his name, John Adams or something. But it's important that they have life tenures, and I firmly stand by that. But Supreme Court judges obviously are appointed by the president, which is a check on them. The president appoints them, and the legislative branch confirms the presidential appointees. So a bunch of checks and balances to make sure the federal government isn't too powerful. And mainly, the Constitution is supposed to be giving power to the federal government so they have enough power to maintain the country, but not enough power to completely control the country. Like, you want the states to have their own laws and stuff. You want civilians to obviously have their laws or their rights protected, but ultimately you want everything else to be controlled by the states, which in my opinion, it's kind of gotten really bad today. I think one of the most unconstitutional things, I don't like executive orders. I don't like how the president could just make a law by himself. There's just a lot of stuff today that I complain about. Like I said, if the founding fathers were to see our country today, they'd be extremely frustrated. And I'm saying this in the quietest voice possible because there's a bunch of people sleeping in my house. I hope you guys could hear my frustration. But I really wish that we kind of got back to our roots and our country wasn't so big government. It needs to be small government again. I want the power to go back to the states. The only political statement you're ever going to get out of me is I like small government. I like the states that have powers. I like each state having their own ability to choose what law they have, unless it's a constitutional right. Unless if, you know, I don't know, freaking Louisiana comes out with a law saying you can't say this certain thing, then I'd be like, hey, that's a violation of freedom of speech. But other than that, I believe that states should have the power and federal government shouldn't be so powerful. But that's just my opinion. Alright everyone, welcome back from the time lapse. I recorded the entire audio for the time lapse about me talking about the Constitution stuff already, so this is like future me, which is like futureception. But anyways, I'm so tired right now, man. I want to go to bed. This is exhausting work. I gotta edit this video. I'll probably post it like tomorrow at like 10:30 or something. But hopefully you learned something. I don't know. I like government. I enjoy talking about it. It's funny and it's interesting. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And I don't know, God bless our country. God bless our troops. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. Boo. Wait, no, the fireworks. Look at them. Look at them. Man, I fell down. I spent way too much time on this.